This episode of the Slander podcast is brought to you by a general sense of apathy, which needs to be countered by a general ambition that at this point is still yet to be defined. It's a dangerous cocktail. Now you may have no idea what I'm talking about, and that would make sense because what I just said was very cryptic. I'm a douche like that. But I'm here with Brad. We're chilling. It's fucking Friday night, night before St. Patty's Day and shit. And, you know, we figured we'd get one more in when we could.
Glad to fucking be here, man. I gotta say, it's been kind of a fucking weird day for me. Not in any bad way, shape, or form. Just again, I'm finding it, where I just being alive or living, if you will, reality is like just is got me by the balls, if you will. And if you want to call that a sign of weakness, be my guest. All I'm trying to say is I'm at a point in my life where I'm questioning and I'm thinking about a lot of things, but they're not necessarily focused at a specific direction. It's an over general sense of empty, like apathy, almost, but like you said, turned inside out into driven, where I start producing and painting and doing music and doing shit, where I'm taking this negative fucking hole in my heart, and out comes this like, fuck you, I'm gonna get some shit fucking
Best
done.
prescription for it, if you're feeling depressed or down in a day, do one fucking productive thing. You'll feel better.
Amen, brother.
It really does work. I do it all the time. I get stuck, and then I'm like, I'm behind on this, so I fucking catch up on it, then I don't feel like shit. Why? Because I'm handling my business. You gotta do what you gotta do to move forward. But finding that, like, objective voice in your head when you're fucking in the rut that's kind of just like, come on, you bitch. Quit being a pussy. Get up.
Yup.
Yeah, woe is me. Well, nobody's gonna fucking fix it for you. So you better fucking go out, get a haircut, get a resume out there, and you know what I mean, get your life together. Because it's just what it is.
Right. My thing might be cranking a fucking Hatebreed album and totally cleaning my house from head to toe.
Yeah.
Until it's so spotless where you could have had a murder take place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're a fucking cleaner.
That could be my thing, and that is my thing. Everybody's got their thing, but like that's that thing you got to go to the lily pad, to the next like dose, because from the ambition to get your fucking house in order opens the door to the ambition to finish that next project that you've been promising yourself for fucking 3 weeks you're gonna get done, but you haven't for no particular reason, because you're just fucking like lazy like the rest of us, primate motherfuckers. But ultimately, it will creep into your soul. It will make a black hole, and if you don't emerge that down and create and shit out some fucking diamonds, bro, the darkness is just gonna continue to seep in, push it out, and turn it into light. I guess like a prism.
I know. I realize what really motivates me fundamentally is I set myself up to be tested, and either I will rise to the occasion or well, like by doing these shows coming up that I'm going to be a part of, it's like either I'm going to get my shit together now and put the work in and try to do something and actually give it a good go, or I'm going to let it go by, half-baked, try it and fail. And I'm trying to be the opposite of what every perceived misconception about me has ever dictated, which is bullshit. People just want to automatically jump to the easy answer when it comes to your story, especially if you have a complicated life. And a lot of us have that, like where your story's so fucking crazy you couldn't write it. It's just it's weirder than any fucking screenplay you could write. Just some of the abstract odds of like something that would happen to you, like the fact that it did. And some people really are struck with awkward, sporadic moments, and how you react in that situation is really what defines you. Mm-hmm. But you got to be able to. I mean, are you one of those people that first person maneuvers it and just never unplugs. Or like, do you light a cigarette, step back, and go, all right, well that fucking sucks.
Yeah, as I reach for
well, you know.
Yeah.
Guess I better fucking get to work.
Yeah.
Damn it. I just accept it as what it is.
Yeah, well.
And I'm not saying it's fair or right that I have to do it, or you know what I mean. But about most things in life, it's not about being right. It's about functionality. And if you being right is keeping you in a point of stagnation and perpetual, like if the same old approach isn't working, that's the just come on.
Loaded terms.
Come on, Jesus Christ.
I like to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like loaded terms. Like
loaded terms. Words are dangerous.
People like to talk about like their identity of what progress is, or their identity of what safety is, or their identity of what ethics are, or their identity of morals. All these things go on and on, and truly, it puts at question everything in your inner core that you yourself are struggling to define. We all are, and I'm sorry, I dare say, like, people in general at the core are in a search. Therefore, what reflects out in almost like a mirror on a mirror sort of echoing way is the chain reaction we see in the way people react to, again, loaded terms. Someone says one thing, they mean another, but there's just no way, because the person with the ears has heard that term used in a different form that makes it, let's say, a negative connotation. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate. That's why we lose loved ones in arguments, and that's why we find ourselves in these dilemmas with communication, even on a diplomatic level worldwide.
I'm gonna sound like such a full of shit bastard, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
What's new?
I really believe that you're supposed to mimic the fractal nature of, like, fractal expansion and how everything in the universe operates on that assumption. Like, that's how we understand the universe so far, is how it's like fractally expanding and it consistently complexifies on itself. Your life is the same thing. You literally, it's been said on many podcasts, my own, others, Joe Rogan's, you name it, but you are the universe becoming cognitively aware of itself, because everything is made of the same shit. So some certain considerations need to be made. It's not too hard or abstract to get there. If you're looking at cold, hard, about as objectified view of a monkey brain we're going to be able to produce. I mean, obviously I know that the logic exists to dismiss any kind of understanding we could try to come to, and it would be legitimate in its thing, but really what it is just it's stagnation torpedoing any kind of movement upon pre-existing information that is obviously clear to us. And all you got to do is extrapolate that and intertwine it with like realistic views of like what's actually going on around you in the world, and then you kind of incorporate said things, and then you have a higher dynamic and bigger understanding of the thing, and you won't get caught up in certain petty small social situations that you used to, certain conflicts that used to be a consistent problem in your life now disappear. And don't get me wrong, you will literally take on a whole nother fucking list of problems as a result, because you've now kind of like, all right, level 2, see if you can get through this one. And that's why I like the expansion theories of like the Fibonacci sequence and pushing the edges of the spiral, and just for the sake of complexity and expansion, you motivate in that. And if you think like that, you would fundamentally understand that we have to do what's right by the planet, be in a cohesive, self-reliant, symbiotic relationship, because there is the parasite truth, that yin to the yang, or whatever you want to say. And either you become symbiotic with the host or you're cancerous. And I think that's our free will choice. And I went really long and deep on that one. I'm surprised I didn't stumble over my words more. Coffee.
He's a ninja with the language, I tell you folks. A ninja.
Surgical like a motherfucker. No.
He's a scary best friend. Put it that way. Like, he's like the Pinky and the Brain syndrome. Like, take the cartoon, for example. I don't care who you want to consider the genius on this podcast. I declare it's Cody. But with that being said, and him being my best bud, it's an intimidating friendship because
we're both enablers.
We're enablers of deep,
being
intrinsical thought that questions most.
Side effects of hanging out like side effects of hanging out lists may include getting the chance to be yourself.
Yeah, it's almost like
not have to worry about.
It's almost like hermitism, but like
reverse.
Yeah, it's strange. It's weird.
It's completely shunning
all the way
natural ideals of what you've been taught.
We've said that before. You got to go all the way in, and then you come out.
Yeah, well, Duncan Trussell was talking about in the Joe Rogan podcast the other day. You know, you have to find inner peace, and then you'll understand the context and how to look at the big picture.
Right, and how to.
You have to come to terms with your own
and
abilities to rationalize your thoughts and make judgments. You got to assess where you are, and if you're not where you want to be, that's not a bad thing. It just means you can improve. Whatever. Push it for what it's worth.
And look, man, you know, this is coming from a guy who just recently went through, honestly, a bout of self-doubt and serious, like, you know, shoulda, woulda, couldas, and oh my fucking gods and all that. But let me tell you, man, like, for what it's worth, just from one primate to another, you know, or powerful primate, whatever you want to call this, you know, like, it's cliche, but it's not bullshit. That, you know, you can rise above. It's inside, and it sounds, again, cliche, but if you dig deep, your survival skills, your ability to negotiate problems with people, your ability to master your plans to fruition, all of those things you will slowly realize are like happening before you as if heaven were on earth, so to speak, for those who like to think about things in those terms. But really it comes from positivist thinking, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of negativist thinking. If you've heard any of the previous Slanders, you know I can be very fucking cynical. But at the same time, if I could leave this earth with a message of hope, fucking A, without it, we are nothing.
See, I won't get pigeonholed for cynicism or anything like that. Where I'm going to get pigeonholed is I really subscribe to defiance. I'm a big Camus guy. I will resist all of this naturally. It's just who I am personality wise, and I've gotten to know myself over the years, and I automatically just have always had problems with authority, but not in the sense where I would have conflict with authority and get myself jammed up. Actually, I have a very fucking touch and go relationship with the subject, and it's very complex, and I don't base in pride, and my interaction with authority is based on survival and ease of fucking, you know what I mean, like lubricating a situation where I don't have to I can avoid certain pitfalls because if I'm cognitively aware of that can happen, it is within my realm to manipulate it so it doesn't. And it has nothing to do with being right or what you should or shouldn't have to do. It's just what kind of quality of life do you want to have? Are you going to wake the fuck up and realize that you can just handle it and let it roll off your shoulders? And all this bullshit that you let hang up on you, and I don't know.
And although all that is very true, it still doesn't dismiss that that strange word to get your head around, kind of like infinity, that hope, like some inner thing that's hard to describe. For guys like us who have expressed how cynical we can be, we hang out probably more than we do with anybody else and shit like that. We know the blue side of our humor and the dark side of our commentary towards life in general. However,
my humor is so dark.
What I'm asking you is, so what is that?
Sounds so terrible.
Where does that thing come from that just pushes it enough to again, is it we
Mine is a simple answer. I come from an authoritarian background, so it's repression. So everything that I'm about to do is just a natural reaction to suppressing the urge to be myself and like playing the game and being shy in the beginning, and then realizing I had certain talents and then kind of becoming sure of myself through different successes and different things I would set my mind to and get done, or certain problems that would interrupt me and I'd have to handle really quick, like how timely and quickly could I put it behind me. And I always caught a lot of flack from different people because most people, when you get into a jam, want you to stop and slow down and really morally show grief and shit and do all the stuff, when I'm more about three decisions ahead of that, and to like already taking care of it and taking the necessary steps to resolving
right, mitigating the situation in its
as it
entirety.
hits. Yes.
Instead of,
it's like when I rewrite a paper as I write it.
Yeah. Again, and I think that's what makes a cool thing about our
I'm ADHD
our subtle
like that.
generational gap is
just
really
juggle
interesting.
shit.
And our subtle, well, not so subtle difference in childhood is really interesting to me, because that fosters that certain mindset, which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And to be able to confidently say that you can progress through certain phases, let's say of grief or this or that, or emotional states, to ultimately get to the means of the problem and find a solution, well, fucking more power to you.
Yeah.
As far as some of us, I don't know. I do, but my logic always battles with that emotional state. I hear where you're at, where you're like, you're emotionally affected by a situation.
Yes.
Your logic has to fucking talk that shit out of your system so you can.
You have to learn to just take a second to run it through a filter in your head before you just say something.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's not about being the bigger person. Again, you're not going to get it. Doing when you're really doing the things that get you. When you commit to a style of conducting yourself that allows you to stay slippery, not get hung up on these things, there will be no pats on the back for you. There will be no anybody in your ear going, "You're doing the right thing." It's usually not how it goes. If anything, you're gonna encounter massive amounts of friction, because if society at its like real basic core is that fucked and is what's causing all this systemic side effect shit where everything's just fucked now, any progressive thinking or thought process or lifestyle that would contradict that and maybe be referenced towards like, I don't know, a different option as a solution is going to be so against the grain that you're going to catch hell for it, and it's just unavoidable. And either you're a coward, or you claim to be brave and you have bravado, or you sink into where me and Brad are. It's a general mix of apathy, and I have a sense of sarcastic, fucked up humor about it. So, nothing happens in this world that I really am shaken up by anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I'm able to process it.
Bro, yeah, I've written song after song about, apathy and
healthy doses are necessary.
More importantly, self-loathing, apathy, jadedness, if that's a word, correct?
Does this say changing a mood type? Is it just like doing drugs?
The point is, you've expressed
little this, little that.
You've got a book at your house of basically, a book of writing that you have.
Yeah, I channeled it.
That you can dig up and dust off and probably find.
It was me just interpreting the fucking madness that was happening.
Right.
I somehow kind of put it in a cohesive form, so it felt like I digested it and I didn't have all this shit weighing me down.
Right. Yeah. I'll apologize on the behalf of the dog.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's all good.
It might be close to time to take a break.
You didn't pause it or anything, did you?
No.
Well, let's just keep rolling for a while.
Alright, no, I'm just saying, because everybody's busting it.
That's alright. We'll let it go.
Let it go. Keep it real, people.
It's real, man. Yo, we're chilling on Friday night. Shit's happening.
Ankle biter yippers.
We're not that lonely where we don't actually have things going on around us,
True.
It's nice, fuck it. But anyway, I wanted to get back to what we were talking about, because it's interesting that, in parenting, you know, we love to teach our children a lot about how they can be anything and be everything they want to be. But more importantly, we like to teach them about, what were you getting on to there? As far as, not becoming jaded, not becoming an adult and someone who's a bit more jaded because of experience. We tend to teach our children this one way of thinking, but then all of a sudden almost pulled the carpet out from under them, whoops, we were just kidding. Real life is actually like this, and it seems kind of fucked that we do that, I mean, I'd rather we be honest with our children about the state of affairs and maybe perhaps how to look at things rather than a lot of things. Hey, we just Cody was right. We just had some people show up, so we're gonna pause.
We'll be back momentarily.
Me three.
And we're fucking back. Why?
What's up?
Because I just hit the button.
It's that easy, folks.
No,
Play a little tunes, push some buttons, talk some shit. Slander podcast, bam. Born demon.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of forethought in these. Listen, I'm just always talking about shit that I've already talked about in other contexts and scenarios, but it's like podcasting is the perfect guise of, putting your fucked up manifesto out into the void, throwing your horse shit at the wall and seeing if something sticks.
Hey Cody.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I gloat a little bit about what we got mentioned on earlier? Or will you gloat for us? Or?
Well, yeah, well, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking
about?
I'm happy. We kind of did. We did a little happy dance today. I won't lie. All right, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, we fucking fanboyed out a little hard when we got mentioned on Ice in the Face. We were like, fuck yeah, really somebody cool. Talking about us.
You got mentioned on another show. Thank you very much. That was very cool.
You guys gotta understand, whoever's listening, man. This is all new to me. I'm just doing it. That's why it's honest. Because it's I don't know any other way to do it.
And it's all done grassroots, pun intended.
Yeah, as you can tell, we take shit so fucking seriously. But that's what happens when you're stuck in a sea of tards.
It's so grassroots, I forgot what DIY even meant. Or wait, DIY. See, I always do that. Do it yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, it's because it's a very, like I said, it's a deep-seated plant you got growing here.
Exactly.
This Slander thing. It's a wild vine.
It's a wild vine.
I swear to God, I'm watching it grow before me like this monster. It's gonna be this behemoth,
No, I'm looking at my entire life now. I'm looking at it as one huge weird experimentation to just see if if you open yourself up to certain possibilities, will it manifest?
Right.
Just as if you're driven by paranoia, you can manifest really bad shit in your life on accident by creating a dynamic or hyperinflating a situation until it is what you were paranoid about. Yeah. People do that. It's like a placebo effect for emotionally dependent people.
And that's why some people see other people and they go, oh, how strong of them to have overcome that. Or oh, how... No, guess what? You know what it is? It's just sheer fact that person, no matter their circumstance, realized at some point, I have control over this with my mind. And you can call that hokey-pokey horseshit if you want. Guess what? My father taught me at a young age, son, this situation you have on your hands is mind over matter.
Yeah.
You can make this what you want of it, and you better, because
I did have that. I almost had that Titus style dad where it was he'd let it blow up in my face and you won't fucking do that again, will you? And you're he couldn't have warned me. I don't know. I could be just manufacturing that. He could have just been not paying attention.
That's a general sense of parenting, I think. And as a parent, I can say that. Do I set my son up for the fall sometimes?
But stick a penny in a light socket. Hold on, let him do it.
Yeah, there's a line there, but
I know.
Like a good lion would teach a cub, you nudge him into the wild slowly.
Yeah, you gotta tread it into the deep waters eventually. There's no avoiding it.
No.
The sooner you understand it, the better.
No, it's cool. I like that my son has a social life of his own now. It's kind of neat because it mimics my own. And now that he's at his age, like I can remember some of the stuff from back when I was a kid, and so the way it mimics it, I find it interesting. Like, oh, that's cool. This is cool, and just general observation of life manifesting before your eyes is an interest of mine. But
yeah, I've been like thinking about a lot of shit lately, and I've been keep coming back to this idea, and I think I heard it in Rogan podcast. It's like our whole narrative is based on a sense of momentum. It's got this progressive, it's got to move forward, and it's just, you know what I mean, you're born into it, and then you function in it, and it's hard to question it, because that's just what it took to get civilized society up and running.
yeah.
And now that we've got it up and running, and we never took that moment to take a breath and then go, all right, now what, and evolve that.
Yeah.
We're still acting as though we need to build the economy.
Well,
I'm pretty sure we got everything networked and set up.
For what it's worth, and I'm not right in front of the internet at the moment, but if you look on my Facebook page, which you can find me easy enough, you'll see that I recently posted what I thought looked like a very legitimate, like, forward-thinking website. And actually, I posted a few today, but one in particular is an overall general sense of, like, a new way of thought and enlightenment. I know a lot, there's a lot of these pages going around now, about enlightened thinking and trying to grow beyond the monkey mind. But for me, this was an actual .com, and I promoted it because I looked through it enough to see that, like, these people were covering scientific news, they were covering theoretical science, they were covering philosophy, they were covering a general sense of well-being for people and how we can solve some issues.
Yeah.
And let me wrap up my rant by just saying, like that, you've joked about it on your one podcast here. The internet is more than just fucking cat memes and fart jokes, you know what I mean, or whatever you said. It's there's something out there.
It's more to the internet doing whippets and looking at cat memes.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between the discussion of the addiction to technology, how we use it, misabuse it, and all stuff. What we're really trying to say that nobody's saying is, from my context, when I look at all this information, I'm not looking for an ethos or a Bible to hang my hat on and be like, this defines me. I don't need to define myself by pre-existing institution or train of thought. What I do at the very best is I allow those things to influence me and change my subjective filter, and I'll do with that what I can, because it's the most logical thing you can do with that information.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're always artificially trying to construct yourself into something that you're not.
Right.
Because you're trying to preconceive what you are instead of arriving at the conclusion by just observing how you react and arriving at the conclusion of what you are. So once you arrive at the conclusion of what you are, then you could kind of premeditate a pursuit or a goal, because you'll know what strengths and weaknesses and highs and lows to tap into, and what words you need to make come forward and, I don't know, manifest the shit that you're trying to do.
Well, listen, bro, for what it's worth, long before Slander existed, early when we, semesters ago started college together and whatnot, what you're talking about there is like a hump that you certainly helped me fucking get over personally in order to get to the place I am today, where, like we talk about, yes, do I slip back to the cynical, do I slip back to the oh, fucking old man
always
routine?
gonna.
I'm
It's
gonna,
fine.
like you said, one thing, I'm gonna soapbox occasionally. But with that being said, I want to give credit where credit's due. Just as a simple friend, man, I'm a middle-aged guy going to college with a bunch of 18, 20-year-old whatever people, and for the majority, and I'm at a coming of age of my own in a certain way, and I find and stumble into a friendship where somebody teaches me that it's time to move past the fact that things are fucked. That's been established. Let's fucking start thinking forward, talking forward, and see if it's contagious or not. And now it's funny because here we sit recording number 13, I think, if I'm
If
not
I really
mistaken.
wanted to be bitter, I could just say the difference between me and most people is I'm not a scared, whiny little bitch.
Yeah.
These things don't scare me. There's a lot of logical solutions to a lot of the retarded shit you're still all of you are still arguing about. That's not aimed at anyone in particular, but we all know the type of group I'm fucking talking about. You see it in the media all the time.
Yeah.
You can insert name here. There's an X amount of examples of that kind of fucking general thinking. You could be abstract about what's going on in an overall context. Why this anti-intellectualism in this fucking country is driving me insane.
Well, it's that
I
kind
feel
of...
until this podcast and meeting people, like meeting you and really pursuing this stuff, the isolation I felt with this style of thinking, it is no wonder people lose their fucking minds.
Right.
I get it. It was close. Found an outlet. Realized it's just like it's like you always hear that cliche, find a hobby. But yeah, it's kind of what I'm saying to you.
But the cool thing
don't
is,
call it a hobby because that's gay.
Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't say gay because you're gonna say gay.
I know.
Whatever. Y'all
Politically
fucking know what I
correct.
mean.
Yeah. We're from a generation where that meant something totally different than homosexual, whatever. Anyway, listen, dude. The point is, it's in your delivery and your raw, if you will, and real fucking delivery that allows access to a person like yourself to be, let's say, the host of a podcast or
Yes.
a stand-up comedian or whatever your next prior or
Yes.
previous or future goals are. It's the fact that, like, even myself, my jaded, middle-aged crisis, going to college is like a last Hail Mary towards not blowing my fucking brains out. And here I am in college, and I stumble across a guy like you, and the point I'm getting at is, like, it wasn't necessarily in just the message alone. It's the fact that I met somebody who spoke my language, like, wasn't, like, you, as you said, don't be a motherfucking coward and a fucking pussy. It's time to fucking wake the fuck up, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like, there was something to be said for that. You know, I come from a very hardcore, New York City hardcore background. Yeah, I grew up on New York City hardcore, and I was been in primarily hardcore bands. So my attitude is very northeast about a lot of things. So, you know, we get chatting about shit, about world affairs, and I meet a guy who's like, talks like I do and thinks like I do, and immediately it's like, well, fucking A, you know, let's move past this shit that's fucked, that we gotta tear this shit down and rebuild. And, you know, there was a time where I did find it preposterous that you don't vote, you haven't voted, you refuse to vote, you won't give into the
Fun
system.
fact, I'm a registered Republican. Why? Because I just checked a box in high school and really didn't give a shit. But have I ever voted ever for anything? No. And I'll stand by that.
And you do stand by it. In fact, he was...
Preaching everybody should not vote.
He was going
for
to
the
have...
presidential ones. Oh, yeah.
At some point, he was going to have T-shirts printed up during the last election, and give them out at the college. And if you will, Cody, what was I going to say?
I
There was
did
actually two
kind of like a meme slogan ad for Charlie the Unicorn for president. Just because I was so fucking... I was taking an American federal government class during the election, the Romney-Obama election, the amount of shit I was subjected to. Mm-hmm. And really, I could rage and I could get out of my on my soapbox and try to condemn that whole class. But that's not going to accomplish anything. It's not worth it.
So here's Charlie the Unicorn.
Every now and then, I would drop a bomb, and hold back, and just grit, and just be like, all right, there's no... You know what I mean? Like, I don't have time to just, like reverse engineer somebody's fucked up personality to show them why their beliefs in politics are completely shot.
Yeah.
And it's Jesus,
It's
dude.
almost as preposterous as if it's, let's say, every 4 to 8 years we voted which religion ruled the country. I mean, how retarded would that be? Just think about it for a minute. Okay, we have how many different religions if we really count all the indigenous ones and everything else?
Yeah.
And every 4 years our country votes in a new religious doctrination of fundamental beliefs. That's kind of funky in itself, you know? Like, and then basically, as we've said before, government and religion are walking hand in hand.
I'll have the balls
They're
to
walking
say it,
hand in
and it's
hand.
dangerous for me to say this. But what is required next for humanity is decentralization of power, areas of abundant people need to become self-sustained and like able to function, and you govern things based on a common ethic, and it can vary slightly area to area, allowing you the free will and individual choice to choose what kind of environment you live in fundamentally, and really give you an option at picking a lifestyle or committing to it, and giving you like, it'll give you a sense of individuality, while in the same token put you in what you believe is the most conducive environment to your creativity and who you are as a person, what's going to allow you to operate like where you're firing on all cylinders. That's how society should be designed, is to have you running at full capacity so you can come up with creative and exciting new things and enjoy your time here and contribute productively to the advancement of our understanding. That's the only goal we've ever had, is understanding. We need to understand what's going on around us. Why? Because we're driven by pure curiosity. Probably because we ate psychedelic mushrooms during migration patterns in the Stone Age theory. But it could have been a million different plants too. There's a million fucking natural psychoactive substances out in the wild that we could have ingested as apes. And, you know, for the first time out of nowhere, we're in the middle of doing something, and because we were high on, like, say, mushrooms, why am I doing this? That one time the why happens is the chain reaction to consciousness. I don't know. I'm not saying I know anything for certain, but I think it's impossible to know exactly what happened in history at this point. And until the supercomputer prints out the objective virtual map of our linear course, we should probably just go with the most optimistic, progressive tone. But progressive and optimistic does mean you have to admit all the ugly shit that transpired, which just makes you come to logical conclusions and makes you want to act as a better species to make up for said rudimentary, we were cavemen, children era shit.
And
I don't know. Maybe I'm a batshit crazy fucker.
Well, we all know that. But if you are really curious and would like perhaps more like background information on hallucinogenics and such, like one person in particular out of many.
Be responsible and research everything you do, people.
There are many out there.
If you were able to find this podcast, you know how to search engines and shit.
Well, one person I would recommend if I could is Terrence McKenna, because for me, like the way he spoke about life, the way he spoke about things, I mean, like any human, he was flawed. We are all flawed. But he was one of the many greats who really did some traveling around the world and really did experiment with some things and try some new ideas and explain on video ways of thinking about life differently than the way we do now. And so all I'm suggesting is perhaps Terrence McKenna could be a good place for somebody to start who might be curious about these things and not understand perhaps why we talk about things the way we do, but maybe want to get a better understanding and have a doorway open where it's like, you know, this forward thinking, which I like to call it, another loaded term by the way, is it's perpetuated by the greats like Terrence McKenna and of course
I've been big into Alan Watts lately.
Alan Watts is
that
great
motherfucker makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty scary that it was said that long ago, and I didn't know about it until I happened to, through different things that I've liked, was recommended it, finally found it. You know, why the fuck am I not learning about Alan Watts in college? That's bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I would say like Alan Watts, but my heart will always go to Hunter S. Thompson, because what that dude did was paint a vivid picture. And let's be real, all your thoughts and experiences of the moment are not always the ideal altruistic things that me and Brad are discussing. Sometimes they're baseline retarded human monkey, or like you did like immediate disgust reaction to somebody that you just, it's, I don't know.
I drove through dog shit today.
Yeah.
Got it on my tire. Had to go get it wiped off. You know, shit
His
happens.
style of writing was a psychedelic trip in itself, where it was showing you an ugly truth that you needed to be shown.
Everything happens.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know, roll with the motherfucking punches. Yo.
Yeah.
It's oh god.
Warped perceptions and distorted nature of things. Like, I'm all about it.
Yeah. He's another one. Hunter S. Thompson. I really could spend an afternoon or more just researching video footage after archive video footage of him just talking, just bullshitting into a camera about whatever in some interview, you know.
Yeah.
Hunter had a way of not only delivering the truth, not only in his writing, but certainly in his just verbalization. And it was such a just, and especially if it's a video, his mannerisms are just...
Well, he railed against the entire establishment in one of the most effective ways I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Different attempts. Like, they almost got, like, some hippie freak dude elected mayor in Aspen. Then he ran for sheriff and almost won. He really scared the shit out of, like, the political parties out there. If you read the stuff, they scrambled at the last minute to, like, join forces just so they wouldn't win, because they couldn't believe that he had picked up so much steam and so support by him. Because basically, like, a hippie community had been created because of the time and the era, and Aspen was beautiful and natural, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of people doing fucking acid and smoking weed out there. So the freak party had been created, and I like that it's been kind of revived through, like, just sayings lately. Like, when Rogan started going freak party, I'm like, fuck yeah, freak party.
No, it's been revived on...
No leaders.
Listen,
just rules are don't be a cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I think it's being revived on even a greater level.
It's just
like,
a baseline understanding.
You know, don't hold me to promises, but I've been thinking of it for more than 2 years now. So typically, when something's been on my mind for at least 2 years, it's gonna manifest. And I plan to write a book, and but that I only say that because you know it's guys like Hunter S. Thompson and these other greats that for guys my age who perhaps are kind of like, well, where the fuck, you know, and what the fuck, and why the fuck, and what the fuck's next, like, literature becomes this amazing new thing. If you've done painting, music, or anything otherwise, you find it's very fucking similar and just as satisfying to type up, let's say, a manifesto. You know, I started a paragraph today that turned into almost a book. Just
I remember the first time I ever took Adderall and found a keyboard. Oh, it's a weird. There was a thing I did on Facebook. This huge proclamation. I was going to conquer the world, fucker. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm going to write this. I'm going to do this. And, like, you can't give someone like me that. My brain doesn't shut the fuck up as it is. And I make connections fast. Now, you give me something that dials up my ability to make those connections, like, by, let's say, times 10.
Yeah.
That's just a slight sliver of an example of what happens when micro-technology infiltrates and expands consciousness. But, like, just the amount, like, when my fingers hit the keyboard, it was like the most insane catharsis I've ever had about dealing with psychological, what I've been thinking about shit. And I typed, like, 4 pages. You know what I mean? I kind of, like, I lost that somewhere along the way, but I remember vividly doing it for 4 hours, smoking like a madman, like at a typewriter, sort of. Headphones on, music blasting, tapping my feet, just sit there and pause, stare up for a second, and then the next fucking chunk would hit me, and wham, out it came. Yeah. And, like, when I went back and read it the next day, I was like, who the fuck wrote that?
No, it's like being possessed.
That's Dr. Jekyll and Hyde.
Right. No, it's very similar to being possessed, and I've you know, like I said, you know, I only relate it to these things because it's the things I know best in my own particular perception. But like with a great performance on stage, or a really great painting, or anything like that, you feel possessed. Like, it's not you. Like, people come up and go, great fucking show, Brad. And I'll be like, you know, I have to think about what I just did. Although I just did it 45 minutes ago, or within that last 45 minutes.
Listen.
It's an outer body, inner outer body experience.
If Freud's allowed to help create psychology on coke, I'm allowed to fucking write philosophy on Adderall.
Fucking A, bro. I never said you couldn't.
No, but you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
People want to really talk about stuff. You know, everybody's always like, oh, cokeheads, and you know, people that get cranked up and then, like, they can do whatever, and it's a big joke, right? Well, yeah, you know, the definitions for your sanity and shit were written by somebody like that. Just a fucking food for thought kind of moment.
Well, the amount of caffeine we fucking
look up, girl, young.
drink, I mean, I dare say, you know, is just, I mean, enough where I wouldn't be surprised if I dropped dead of a heart attack because of the amount of caffeine we intake on a daily basis.
America is the crank society. Like, we are all about...
We're speed freaks.
Fuck yeah, makes you work. That's just given. That's why they make millions of dollars on cocaine and heroin, and then they figured out a way to make crank and energy drinks, and they sell that shit legally over the counter. They're just making shit hand over fist. People are white out of their fucking minds. You know, I mean, I'm no better. I fucking use it, but I use it responsibly. I'll detox and drink a bunch of water, recover, and, you know, not fucking die of a heart attack or something. Jesus.
But the most honest thing I could say about that is, I'm doing so to keep up with the society that seems in my pace, or in my, that seems, in my opinion, a little bit fucking high strung, if you ask me.
Goddamn right.
Overall,
everybody is always freaking out about something.
Yeah, so I seem like I have to.
I'm tired of being the guy that's like, whoa. You know,
I feel like every step
like,
I take,
you're fucking my night up too.
Every fucking tiptoe is
selfish.
You know, I have to wonder how much.
It's the wrong kind of selfish.
I'm gonna have to fucking.
There's the wrong kind of selfish and the right kind of selfish.
Yeah.
The wrong kind of selfish inflicts a weird gossip-driven night onto your night. The right kind of selfish realizes that if you just chill the fuck out and be nice to everybody around you and have a good night, it's in your best interest and you have the best time possible.
Right. Positive begets positive. Negative begets negative.
You know, people forget at some point. Like, I think early on when you hang out with your friends, you love it because it's an escape from your world, your original paradigm world. When you're out there with your buddies for the first time. And then you forget about that and you get used to being with them and you start bringing your problems into the hanging out, and you know what I mean? Like, it bleeds over, and that's when that first saturation happens, and why most people's original friend group doesn't last. I just know it gets fractionalized. People may keep in touch or whatever. Maybe I'm justifying my own past, but I've seen it multiple times in different dynamics. So, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it does. As always, it does. And like I said, man, you know, a guilty pleasure. I've been waking up most mornings, and first thing I do is pop on the headphones and tune into the latest Slander, because I'm an old fart, so I go to bed long before Cody stays up all night doing the
cranked out, just fucking,
post-production or whatever. But, you know,
that conversion process as I stare blankly into the wall with the headphones on, contemplating everything on such a fucking abstract meta level that it's like disgusting.
Oh, and if you're getting sick of me plugging these, get used to it. I'm going to plug every fucking one of them because this is my best buddy. I believe in it, and I think it's fucking awesome, and I'm having a blast being a part of it. And I know shit that you don't know about upcoming guests and other collaborations and cool shit that's going to blow your fucking mind. So, you know, but I do need to ask for a pause because I need to get some coffee and
no, it's all good. Listen,
like
people, look for the Todd Smith interview tomorrow. I'm probably going to have that out tomorrow. It'll be out the same day as this is probably out. Whatever. Look for it really soon. We got shit coming. I feel like I coherently got a lot out of like going on this one. I got to listen back to myself. Jesus Christ, I could be completely full of shit. What do I know? See, that's what you do, is you assassinate your own character. That way, when somebody really wants to come after you and jam you up because of your radical fucking beliefs,
like
you can just look at yourself like, no, I self-sabotage myself. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Don't take my word as gospel. I'm just here to make you go, yeah, shit's fucked. You know what I mean? Like, let's do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make you feel better.
Yeah. Hey, I wake up in the morning, and I feel like the biggest douchebag on earth until I've had my, let's say, just the things I need to function. I'm just going to leave it at that. But until that point...
Everybody's got their start up and go kid, people.
Yeah, so guess what?
Results may vary. Experiences may vary.
If you're on a fucking high horse, guess what? We all wake up, we all stretch in bed, and we all go, fall.
You can all claim what you want, but you all introduce a certain amount of stimulus to get you through the day. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. Acknowledge that, and you got the keys to the fucking world, because then you realize it's all manipulation of experience and vibes and fucking mood and altered states and fucking atmosphere, and then, you know, you just, I don't know. It's like when Neo sees the numbers in the Matrix. Not really. I'm just being fucking weird. But have a good one. We'll be back. I gotta take a day out because I gotta be a good guy And dog sit. Yeah, dorky as shit tomorrow, so I'm not even going out for fucking St. Patrick's Day. But
Blind and horny.
everybody be safe. Don't fight nobody because this shit's retarded. And if you see people about to bro down, make fun of them and assassinate it before it can even escalate. Fuck the police. Don't give them a reason to fuck all this other shit up just because they can make a ton of money on that night because they know that people are going to be dumb. Sorry. I was going to touch on St. Patrick's Day earlier and I didn't. I just feel like I should get that out there before I end this.
Don't be a twat.
But follow us on Twitter. And, we'll hit you back. Again, shout out to Ice in the Face and shit. We're definitely down for doing both of them, guys. Everyone have a safe and happy weekend. And, if you can do other things besides drink your face off, do those instead. They're way more fun.